Welcome back, everybody. B-Team on a Tuesday. Hope you honor your drive home. I'm Ryan Brauninger. He is Richard Zane. We are in the TexAgs studios. Cade Bickham is producing the show today. Hope you guys are getting on with your week. We have a show rundown that has been planned and prepped, and I was getting ready to talk a lot about my trip to Utah, so much so that Richard was probably going to get tired of hearing it. And then that's another thing we got to talk about. I think we all had some naps today after our lunch adventure.
I think I'm the only one that didn't.
Yeah, shame on you then.
Tough.
Shame on you. So we have got a lot of stuff to get to now, and especially since I sent this rundown to both Richard and Cade, we've had some major happenings in the sports world, especially in this region of the country. But we're going to start, as we always do, to remind you this is a Top 5 Tuesday, so at some point in the show we will be getting to our Top 5 winners and losers from the college football weekend. There's going to be some crossover here, I would have to imagine. But we got to get to SEC officiating, which continues to be a joke. Major League Baseball announces today that they are going to the automated challenge system like we saw in minor league baseball. And we got to start asking ourselves how much longer until that trickles into college baseball. And then if the software is readily available for purchase and implementation across college baseball, which games get it, which games don't. And then will the power conferences even be accepting of it, because we know how much they not only protect their umpires, but officials across all sports. But let's start with, this is a top of mind sports show. So what is at the top of our mind? Well, there are a couple of things. Mike Gundy fired after 3 games into this season at Oklahoma State. The Cowboys are 1-2, and they're coming off, quite frankly, a humiliating loss at home to Tulsa. That's 2 weeks after getting absolutely shellacked in Eugene, Oregon by Dan Lanning's Ducks. And there had been a lot of chatter online, and I'm sure within the Oklahoma State fan base, about the future of the program and the immediate future of Mike Gundy. Okay, so I believe he was there 15 years. Oh,
no, he's been there since 2005. This would have been his
years.
21st season.
So fired in his 21st season, and when my initial reaction was, I don't have an issue with him being let go. I do have an issue after 20 years of you letting go of the guy 3 games into the season.
Yeah, I don't think I'm surprised that he's out, but I am surprised by the timing for sure. I mean, look, things had kind of gone stale in Stillwater probably since
Stillwater.
The last time they were relevant on any stage was when Mason Rudolph was there, and even then they weren't like super relevant on the national scene. He only won 1 Big 12 championship outright his entire time there.
That's crazy, because how many 10-win seasons he was there for a while. And I think we talked about this maybe last week, was from 2010 to 2015-16, he had that thing humming.
Oh, yeah. They were really good. Like, if there had been a playoff back then, Oklahoma State probably been to what, 2 or 3?
Let's see. I got his career pulled up here. So 10-win seasons in 2013, 2015, 2016, and 2017. 12-2 in 2021. 10 wins in 2023. So just 2 years ago, he was 10-4. And that was a year that they beat A&M in the Texas Bowl. That's still the only A&M football game I've ever been a credentialed media member for. 3-9 last season, and then starts out this year 1-2, 170-90.
Let me ask you this:
career win-loss. If
Mike Gundy doesn't lose to Baylor in a Big 10 championship game.
Big 12?
Yeah, Big 12 championship game in 2021, they go to a playoff. They were ranked 5th in the country when they lost to number 10 Baylor. They would have been in the playoff.
And they won the Fiesta Bowl that year.
They beat Notre Dame. They would have been in the playoff.
So I don't know how everybody's feeling, the reactions to this. I think from what I was able to just kind of glean off of social media, it was kind of the same sentiment. Like, we understand you getting rid of him. Like I said, 3-9 last year, looking like another sub-4 win season for them. So
sub-4.
The decision to move on is understandable, and he'd been there a long time. And because he's been there a long time, I thought he deserved the respect to just let him finish out the season. You can even come out and say, if you want to, and who knows how these conversations went between he and the AD and the decision makers at Oklahoma State. They may have called him in. They say, Mike, we're going to make a move at the end of the season. And he said, I don't want to do that. Well, let's just do it now. So we don't know the back and forth.
Oklahoma State's AD got
well, he had been working without a contract. Did you know that?
The AD did?
He was working without a contract.
Oklahoma State AD Chad Weiberg said Mike Gundy was not given the option to finish the season, and this was a long-term decision. Quote, I'm not worried about this week's game or the next 2 weeks. I'm worried about next year, 2 years from now, 5 years from now. So it sounds like Chad Weiberg's talking to the media right now. That was from Brett McMurphy 25 minutes ago.
Okay, so that is the latest information there. He did meet with the brass, and they did say you are going to be terminated immediately. The interesting point, there's tons of avenues to look at this through, but one of the interesting points here is what happens to Oklahoma State now that they have fired their head coach just 3 games into a season, knowing that every player on your roster that still has an eligible red shirt can now take it and subsequently forego the remainder of the season if they want to. And I think that is something that a lot of ADs across the country are going to be looking at. Florida's in a similar situation, right?
Sure.
It sure seems like dead man walking in Gainesville. Well, now that Oklahoma State, and look, we saw it with Virginia Tech, we've seen it with UCLA. How many of these kids, they get to their 4 games and they said, okay, I'm done. I'm going to play 4 games because I like playing football, but after that, I'm done, and I'm going to retain this year of eligibility. It makes a lot more sense now to keep that in your back pocket because of NIL and your ability to make money, and some of these guys, they need to prolong their money-making time in college. So it just common sense now in this weird world that we are living in tells me that there's going to be a high amount of guys bail after game 4 and forego the rest of the season and announce their intention to enter the portal.
Why does it have to be after game 4?
Because you can play in 4 games.
I understand that. Do you expect there to be a high number of guys bail now? Why even play anymore? You're not going.
The risk of injury.
Your school has just told you are not going to win anything. They don't think the program has anything in it this year. So they fired the head coach 3 games into the year. Why risk the injury? Why play anymore? Knowing that you're going to move on next year.
The reason that you would play would be just because you enjoy playing football and you've done all of this work over the summer to get ready for a season. And given the scenario in the world that you're living in, you've got to go, okay, like, do I need to maximize me able to play because I worked so hard for this season? And then I agree with you, though. I mean, I tend to believe, like, just start sitting out now. And the agents now, I would expect for them to push that too.
And that's a similar argument that everyone makes about the bowl games, right? The bowl games are supposed to be a reward for the hard work you've done this season. You get to go somewhere that's a little different, enjoy being around your teammates one last time. But we still see nobody suit up for those games.
So it's a little different to me because
the bowl
at the end of the
game's
year.
Meaningless, right? The bowl game's meaningless, and your institution and your AD have essentially told you the next 9 games on your schedule are meaningless, so meaningless that we're not even going to let the guy coach. What incentive is there for you to stick around?
And I think going forward, you have to look at some sort of stipulations in NIL agreements that say if you miss games because you are foregoing games, like if you miss games for something other than injury or maybe some personal matter, then you are not owed the money that is part of your contract. You have to forfeit some of it. But the problem there is a lot of these deals are front-loaded. So these kids get paid kind of up front, and they're expected to do their appearances and stuff after the fact. So
don't I know it?
What I'm saying is, if they are being paid monthly or however it is, biweekly, I would imagine that they can bake in some of these stipulations saying you can't sit out. Like if you play your 4 games and choose to sit out, we're not going to pay you for the final 8 weeks. That makes no sense. No line of work, no industry anywhere is that a reality.
Interesting. It's another wrinkle in the new world of college athletics that we're going to have to figure out, and there's obviously going to be guardrails put in place after this. Oklahoma State is now essentially a guinea pig.
Oklahoma State's a guinea pig, and that whole league, I'm very curious to see what happens with the Oklahoma State fan base, I think, and really just the perception of the program now without T. Boone Pickens behind it, I think it leaves a lot of people scratching their head going, okay, what do they really have there? You
ever been to Stillwater?
Yes, I have. But what I'm saying is what kind of financial backing does that program really have? What kind of coach do you need to go in there and rally whatever support you have? And I'm super interested in that now because of what Mike Gundy did to elevate that job.
Yeah.
The last 2 years has that shine wore off, and somebody are there coaches out there and go, man, I don't really even know if Gundy had it elevated to a level where I probably would have taken the job, but after these 2 years, there's so much shine wore off of it. I don't know what their NIL situation looks like. I think this is going to be I think Oklahoma State may go young.
I could see that.
And
maybe
be like a
maybe
GJ
it's a
Kinney.
spot where young or a spot where a high school coach in the region that's been really successful goes.
Ooh, I think
You
that's
think that's
too big.
too young,
that's
too big of a
big.
jump?
Yep.
But I don't know if it is anymore.
GJ Kinney, I think, would be a really intriguing hire there. But GJ Kinney, his name's going to be super high. Like, what happens if Baylor goes 7-5 and they punt Dave Aranda? I mean, you got GJ Kinney an hour down the road in San Marcos, hour and a half down the road in San Marcos, who's got Texas ties. He's
what
a
about
Texas
the guy who's an hour further down the road in San
Jeff
Antonio?
Traylor. I think Jeff Traylor could get considerations for both of these jobs as well. I think those are two really good names. I heard it again. We're going to talk about my trip to Utah, but Bronco Mendenhall's name has come up. I don't think Bronco Mendenhall would be a guy that would fire up the Oklahoma State fan base, but I do think he would be a guy that would fire up a lot of football people because they respect him and they understand he's a really good football coach. Was really successful at BYU. I don't know how you would classify his tenure at Virginia. Virginia's an exceptionally hard place to win at.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was okay. I think they could do a lot worse than Bronco Mendenhall if they want to go that direction. Problem is he's old. I say old. He's older, and he's been in the state of Utah most of his life.
Bronco Mendenhall is 59 years old.
Yeah.
Counterpoint, they could go in the other direction, and they could have good old Jimbo Fisher come in there and swoop in and save the day.
I'd seen that one floated.
Yeah, shine
I'd seen
wore
that
off
one
somebody.
floated, and the other one I've seen floated is Colin Klein. That could be a first time job for a coordinator. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're painting yourself, man. Again, like if you're Colin Klein, you got to look at it and go, what's my upside there?
I agree. I think Colin Klein's upside is a head coach somewhere at the Power 4 ranks, and he could get to a spot kind of like what we saw from Mike Elko when he was at A&M as the DC, where he kind of gets to pick and choose his spots, where he doesn't have to go to the first job that's open. What if Colin Klein truly, and again, this is all speculation, I don't know him, I've only listened to him talk in press conference settings, never actually had a one-on-one conversation with the guy, but what if Colin Klein's dream job is going to be the head coach at Kansas State? He is in a position right now, especially the way the A&M offense is rolling, where if that job comes open, he could jump.
Yeah,
or he could
what
wait
I'm saying
until it
is,
does.
okay, if that's his dream though, then he doesn't need to jump at the Oklahoma
That's
State
what I'm
job.
saying.
But and then if you're going to throw Colin Klein's name out there, what about Ben Arbuckle, who's at OU?
Yeah,
and I've seen his name floated around as potential up and coming head coach type of guy. I think if you made me pick between the hottest coordinator names, and I would prefer a guy like GJ Kinney who's got head coaching experience.
sure.
And it'd be a massive step up. I say a massive step up. Now that Texas State's he's got them moving in the right direction, very much so. How big of a step up is it now? When Texas State, I would guess the enrollment. Cade, maybe can you look this up real quick?
How about Eric Morris,
Eric Morris is another good shout.
the head coach at North Texas?
The enrollment at Texas State compared to Oklahoma State, I think Texas State's quite a bit bigger.
Eric Morris he went to high school at Shallow Water, Texas.
Yeah, he's another Texan. There's a lot
I know
of
somebody who went to Shallow Water. You also know this person. Women's basketball player.
Oh, Katie Lee.
Yeah, Katie Lee.
Did you find those numbers, Cade?
Yes, I did. So Texas State, their enrollment seems to be around 45,000.
It's huge.
And then Oklahoma State's enrollment is more around the 36, 37 range.
We've got somebody in the chat, Bruce Snover. G.J. Kinney's dad is Baylor's all-time leading tackler.
Again, there's a lot of intrigue there for Baylor and G.J. Kinney.
That's interesting.
I do think Jeff Traylor's got to move. If he's got bigger aspirations than UTSA, and he's done a great job with that program, but I think you risk, was it kind of like Matt Campbell? And Matt Campbell's got a good team this year, but it felt like if Matt Campbell was going to jump, Matt Campbell needed to jump 4 or 5 years ago.
I agree with that. I think Matt Campbell has kind of stayed a little bit too long in Ames. Feels like the shine's worn off of that, even though his Cyclones are still pretty solid this year. And they seem to always be really solid.
Yeah, if you're going to bust through that ceiling as a coach, he feels like you need to be doing it by, who knows? I mean,
I think the perfect example of that is Kalen DeBoer. Kalen DeBoer didn't wait too long. He took his opportunities and moved up as he needed to.
You know, another coaching name along those same lines, and we've talked about this guy on the show because talk about shine wearing off. I think he's getting some shine back, but it's just taking a little bit of time because of where he's located. Is Jedd Fisch, and they got a big one this coming week. We're going to predict that game on Thursday. Ohio State goes to Seattle.
I forget Washington exists now because they just move because those teams that are in the Big 12, the Big 10 now that are out on the West Coast, seems like their games get forgotten because they're not playing in the late windows all that often anymore. I don't know. They just don't stand alone anymore.
There's no Big 10 after dark for us to tune into.
Yeah, the Big 10 after dark really sucks.
Yeah, and I really looked forward to getting home from A&M games, whether it be if A&M kicked at 11 or they could kick at 2:30 or they could even kick at 6:30. By the time you get home, if they kicked late, you're kind of getting ready for bed, but there's football on. And it can be a big-time West Coast game, and I miss that. I miss that element of the Pac-12. You mentioned it, Cade, Pac-12 after dark kind of feel. You just don't get it out of the Big Ten. I'm sitting there watching Michigan State at USC the other night. It just didn't feel the same. So I am a little bit nostalgic for the old Pac-12 days, Pac-10 days, and we go way back.
Jay Paul in the chat said that guy from Memphis should get some calls. I looked at Ryan Silverfield, head coach at Memphis.
I think the head coach at Memphis, the way his team's playing right now, I think he should make a move above Oklahoma State.
Arkansas?
That's a good idea.
Maybe. Oh, wow. I think that
that would be funny, wouldn't it?
I think that guy's in line for an upper end Power 5 job at this point. I think Oklahoma State is very much in the have-nots category.
I agree.
In today's college football. I think that guy's going to get a shot at a potential have or a school that's on the threshold of have-nots.
And I think 10 years ago, Oklahoma State would have been considered a have.
Agreed.
And a lot of that is because of what Mike Gundy had done, but there's a fair amount of it that has to be attributed to T. Boone Pickens as well.
Yes.
Staying in the Sooner State and going to the Sooners, John Mateer, news broke just before we started the show that he will be out for what sounds like about a month to repair a bone in his hand. A couple of tweets I saw said the surgery was not expected to be extensive. 3 weeks was the minimum, but more likely a full month.
I saw a minimum of 3 games, and they're on a bye this week.
So that'll be 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And so they're
the most likely he's back. The earliest he's back is going to be their game against Ole Miss, which means he would miss the Red River rivalry shootout, showdown, whatever we want to call it this year if we're being PC.
Yeah, he would miss Kent State, shouldn't be a problem, then Texas, then on the road at South Carolina, which could be troublesome for the Sooners there right before he comes back. And that's if there's no setbacks in his recovery. And those hands and those bones are so many small areas and small fractures that can happen in all those bones in there that you're kind of praying that it just, it can be a simple surgery, but you got to kind of pray that it's going to recover correctly. You go back and I recall Trevor Werner's hamate injury and how long it took him to come back from that just because he was probably pushing a little bit too far. And there's so many small bones that have to heal in there before it can be, properly set and you're back to full strength that you can have some setbacks with hand injury. So we'll see. That's another, Billy tweeted about it and then Luke kind of went under there and went through the last 11 games that Texas has played in the SEC. It's something like 7 of the 11 games they've played in the league or will have played in the league will be featured a backup quarterback in some extent that wasn't due to score, due to injury, they will have played 7 of 11 backup quarterbacks in the league.
That's an impressive stat.
And there's nothing, I'm not saying.
That's an impressive statistic. And I think, and Billy did say it pretty well. He said it's Texas this year and last year. That's a defense that doesn't need any help.
Yeah,
it's just good fortune. You can't blame Texas for that at all. Back to the John Mateer thing, man. I don't think he was great this week against Auburn, but he was good enough to win the football game. And that's the type of leadership you need at that position in this league. And you just kind of win the game and you move on. You stay unbeaten as you prepare for Red River in a couple of weeks. Well, and he was absolutely the Heisman frontrunner as it stood today, September 23rd. And now that campaign is officially on hold, if not completely derailed, because you don't know how long he's going to miss.
And now the attention turns to Malik Hawkins, who, if you'll remember, played quite a bit last year and was
not good.
It was awful. It was awful. And if that
he can
is
run
what
it, though.
He can run it, but man, OU's defense better be for real. If they're going to hang around in this playoff conversation for the next 4 weeks,
right?
That's what I said. When I say Malik,
yeah.
Malik's his brother, Michael Hawkins. And if they're going to hang around, they're going to have to win some, 17-13, 14-10, 14-7 type of games.
Michael Hawkins, last year at the Cotton Bowl was brutal.
It was bad.
It was
really bad.
Brutal.
So, some tough luck there for the Sooners. I know there are a lot of
State.
There are
Tough
not
Tuesday.
a lot of Aggies that are going to have any sympathy given the quarterback issues and with injuries here over the last 5, 6, 7 years.
None.
And it stinks.
That's life in this league. It's life in football, honestly.
Cade, did you see Cade hit me with because I said 5, 6, 7?
Cade.
This generation is full of absolute boobs.
I was just going to let you keep going and not mention it.
Yeah, but I can see. It's the only square on the TV in front of the monitor in front of me that I can see clearly is you. So I did catch that. All right. So Mateer out for about a month.
6,
7 weeks. No, that's less than a month. I
hate
that means Texas. I don't know if you guys probably already mentioned this, but they might catch They might catch Florida without Lagway too.
Man, I've gotten some calls about Lagway, and I have been open on a bunch of shows, this one included, about my affinity for that kid. I said how many weeks ago I don't think he's healthy. Now he's moving around Gainesville on a walk in a boot and on one of those mobile scooters, and I don't know, but I don't think his injuries stop there. Like, if they come out and say he's got something else wrong, I'd believe it. He's just looked so out of sorts. And the fact that in the game last Saturday against Miami, they didn't throw the ball past 5 yards down the field at all. At all. They didn't even try to make him throw the ball down the field. And so I'm going, okay, even if he's got an ankle or a foot thing, you can still make or attempt throws down the field. I don't know if they were trying to dumb down the offense because they felt like they were giving him too much and his head was spinning at LSU when he threw the 5 interceptions, or if he's legitimately got something going on that prohibits him from throwing the ball down the field. But what an embarrassing performance again from Florida offensively. Billy Napier, as we discussed, dead man walking, he's fired. He is fired. Barring a 8-game winning streak, he's fired.
And that ain't happening. That schedule, that is not happening. I don't want my comments to sound like I'm saying Mr. Lagway is faking an injury. But if he were, I would not fault him, because you're not going to win anything. Why risk even further injury when you can enter the transfer portal once Mr. Napier is out of Gainesville and find yourself a much better situation?
Yeah.
That's all I'll say. I understand completely that the kid is a competitor. He wants to be out on the field. If he were healthy, he would absolutely be out there regardless if they were 10-0 or 0-10.
Yeah, he's not wired.
He's not
faking
it.
anything.
He's not faking it. But at the same time, if I wouldn't fault a kid if they were going to pull that kind of stunt, especially when there's nothing to play for. There's nothing to play for in Gainesville right now. Nothing to play for.
We might as well just keep moving around the headlines of college football in the SEC. I'm going to make this. I'm just going to say the topic. I will let you two discuss it if you care that much. I do not care that Whit Weeks is dating Lane Kiffin's daughter. The only crazy thing is the timing.
The timing's amazing.
The reasoning behind it, we'll never know. I'm done talking about it. If y'all are done talking about it, we can move on. But Cade, if you or Richard have anything that you want to get off your chest or say about this relationship, which has taken social media by storm today, I will never care about who college athletes are dating. I don't care who pro athletes are dating. I don't care who celebrities are dating. I don't care.
I agree. I don't care about anybody dating anybody. The only thing I care about is knowing the person I'm dating is not dating anybody else.
Do you know that?
I have a very, very good idea that she is not.
Okay.
So,
well, maybe if she's listening, we can get confirmation.
Sure, she
good or
is.
bad.
The best part about this entire thing is Lane Kiffin saying take the over, as if he's going to try and light up that LSU defense, which in Baton Rouge they've been claiming is the best they've ever had. It does. This
better
whole
worry about his own defense, honestly. You better worry about his own defense.
Sure, but
well, it's not like LSU's been lighting the scoreboard up.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually, yeah.
The entire thing just makes Saturday afternoon more interesting.
Do you
that's
think
all
they've
it is.
met? Do you think Whit Weeks and Lane Kiffin have met?
Surely.
Sure.
Didn't he transferred into LSU?
No, he's from Coney County, Georgia,
and
went to LSU.
Well, I mean, yeah.
What if the post game?
Jenna says can confirm only dating you. Thank you.
What if the post game handshakes are the first time those two ever meet? Awkward.
It'd be pretty funny.
I'm trying to look at his.
You'd think that he would have recruited him though.
Yeah, I'm sure he does know him, but I'm just hypotheticals about a situation I don't care about.
Yeah, my only thoughts on the situation was it just seemed like a real nice moment for Lane Kiffin to stretch out the Twitter fingers again. That's what it seemed like to me. He loves doing that. He loves doing it. It's his favorite thing to do.
He had an offer from Ole Miss coming out of high school.
Lane Kiffin going to be
He did not take a visit.
Hot. I mean, he's always in the discussion for what's going on. He makes himself part of the discussion.
He's hilarious.
Both with his Twitter antics, his sideline antics, and then the way his teams play. But
a buddy and I were texting about this. It is insanely funny that he operates a Twitter account for his dog and was essentially tweeting
bizarre.
at himself. Yeah, you're right. It is bizarre, but it's also funny. It's just so insanely stupid that it makes me laugh. How do you have the
time? I guess if you're a head coach, whatever. He's definitely
How can anybody have the time to run a burner?
He marches to the beat of his own drum. That's for sure. That sounds like a veiled shot at somebody that may be sitting in the back and probably not listening.
Well, people take veiled shots at us and this company all the time. Why not issue some back?
Some of them are not as veiled as others.
Well, they think they're being slick, but they're not.
Or shameless.
Just really dorky.
And shameless. All right. So we're done with this thing, I hope. And the only thing I'm looking forward to is immediately after the game, regardless of the score, we know that those cameras are going to find both of those guys, and we'll see what happens. I actually like Ole Miss in that game. I think
Whit Weeks.
I think
not as smart.
I think the Rebels got a chance to win by a couple of scores.
It is in Death Valley, though. Yes.
Yeah, but yes, it's in Baton Rouge at 2:30 Central Time.
It's going to be pretty hot there. It's supposed to be pretty hot here.
So hot, yeah.
And
Trinidad Chambliss has been playing very, very well.
And we'll see what kind of, now that Brian Kelly has openly admitted that Garrett Nussmeier has an injury, does that play a part in any sort of the game plan, or does Garrett Nussmeier continue to struggle because of it? He has not looked great this year.
No,
it's funny. All the quarterbacks, and here's 4 of them. Here's 5 of them. Okay, that were all predicted to be front runners for the Heisman this season, that have, for better or worse, not fallen off the face of the earth, but been way below par in the standard that they thought they were going to have for themselves. Cade Klubnik, Garrett Nussmeier, Arch Manning, DJ Lagway, Lenore Sellers. That might have been some people. It would not surprise me if there was a publication across the country that had those 5 names, perhaps even in that order.
Man, Cade Klubnik's been absolutely brutal. And then his post-game comments after they lost to Syracuse this week were just odd.
Sad Dabo.
Talking about them Oh, I'm talking about club name.
I know, but sad
talking
Dabo
about
was
Syracuse faking injuries and stuff. Dude,
they
you
beat
guys
by
got
2 scores.
run out of your own building.
Yep.
They were definitely faking injuries on their first offensive drive, in which they marched right down the field and scored a touchdown on your defense, your trash defense, and then subsequently got the onside kick. They were about to be up 14-0 on you until your defense got a stop inside the 10-yard line. Clemson's lucky that it didn't get really, really out of hand.
Well, and after Dabo Swinney cut a promo that you would normally have seen on WWF, WCW, Monday Nitro, Monday Night Raw, he comes out there and cuts that 13-minute promo, and then he gets beat by Syracuse. And I don't know if y'all saw his post-game press conference, but it was like hat in hand, woe is me. It was the exact opposite. It was the biggest pouty thing of all time. And I think it was Portnoy that said he actually made Portnoy felt sorry for Dabo. It's like that's how good of a job he did at coming into the press conference and being, like I said, so hat in hand and down on his dauber. So a week later, it was a week after.
So what you're saying is that Monday Night Raw, Dabo Swinney changed after Fran Brown Saturday Morning Raw? Because that's what we saw from the Orange on Saturday in Clemson, South Carolina.
They got rawed by the Orange.
Quickly before we move on, M.A. Sterling in the chat has corrected us, and the game is at Vaught Hemingway in Oxford.
That's what I thought.
Not at Death.
Yeah, I thought
that is
I was also
my
wrong.
mistake. My
Cade,
bad.
I was also wrong.
Hand up.
He put his hand up. I'll put my hand up. I thought I had read it as being in Baton Rouge.
And while we're doing that,
thank you, M.A. Sterling.
While we're putting hands up,
Houston Texans.
The Houston Texans stink. I was way wrong. I was critical of the Dallas Cowboys and the moves they made, and I said that they were moving toward the bottom of the division. The Texans were separating themselves from the AFC South. I was completely wrong. Completely wrong. They are going to ruin the window or perceived window that they had to continue to build this thing forward, because they are eating and eroding CJ Stroud's confidence because they refused to invest in the people that block for him. And a subsequent byproduct of that has been a complete, I want to say erosion. Maybe that was maybe too strong of a word, but his game and his confidence is going the wrong direction. And I can't blame the guy. No. And it won't be long before he's still young. Remember, it's his third year in the league, but when he came in, he was the youngest quarterback in that draft by age. And it won't be long before this guy starts pointing fingers. And when he starts doing that, the leader and the quarterback starts pointing fingers. I don't know that you get it back. So there, hand up. I was wrong on the Houston Texans.
Since we're doing hand up and talking about the NFL, I am anxiously awaiting, hopefully the day soon, when somebody at TexAgs, not going to say who, goes hand up and admits he was wrong about Mr. Aiden Hutchinson. I've got concerns. Aiden Hutchinson's not going to be the same. It's just not going to happen. I'm telling you, it ain't happening. Looked pretty damn good last night against Baltimore, is all I'm going to say.
Congratulations to you and your Detroit Lions.
Thank you.
After
I was very nervous.
A lot of people were.
I'll say hand up. I'll hand up there because at lunch yesterday, I told this same person, kind of anxious about the Lions playing Baltimore tonight.
It's a tough place to go play. Lamar is awesome.
To play.
Derrick Henry's awesome, although he does fumble quite a bit, but he is awesome. And they've got real weapons.
He fumbles quite a bit.
But Detroit, after looking like they had real issues in week 1 against Green Bay, has bounced back, not only just bounced back, has bounced forward incredibly well, and now looks like a Super Bowl contender.
Oh yeah, they absolutely blitzed the Chicago Bears in week 2, and that's not really anything to puff your chest out about because everybody does that unless you're, the Dallas Cowboys.
Listen, hey, you Cowboys fans, sit this one out.
Yeah, sit this one out.
You don't, but just because the Texans, and there was, one of the, I would say, more infamous posters on TexAgs. I don't know the guy's name. I just know his username. And if I know your username on TexAgs, that's not a good thing. It's because every time I notice you post, it's like the stupidest thing that I could possibly have read that day. This guy comes on there and starts just trying to dunk on the Texans during the middle of that game after they lost to Jacksonville. And he's a Cowboys guy. And I noticed that when the Cowboys game was over, because I went back to the forums and looked for this thread,
Crickets.
all gone.
Crickets.
Where's the thread? Where's all that chest? You had a lot of chest talking about Houston.
It's a lot of chest.
Where's all that chest gone?
It's a lot of chest.
Cade Bickham, what do we think of the Denver Broncos?
God, we stink. Oh my gosh. It's really frustrating. Bo Nix, okay. I have thoughts about Bo Nix. I didn't like him when we drafted him.
Do your thoughts with Bo Nix rhyme with his name?
Yeah, they do.
Ooh, yuck.
Yeah.
Come on, man. He's been pretty good.
Yeah,
okay,
dude.
So I'll take you through my Bo Nix saga.
It's like what Stephen McGee says. It's a show me game. What have you done for me lately? That's true. It is in this game. What have you done for me lately?
All right, let's hear his thoughts on it.
Okay, let me take you through my Bo Nix saga. Bo Nix started as the quarterback at Auburn when I was a junior in high school. I've hated Bo Nix, or I hated Bo Nix throughout his whole college career because he beat A&M 2 or 3 times while he was at Auburn. It was really frustrating. And then he goes to Oregon, and everybody's like, oh, yeah, look at him. He's so good. It's like, yeah, of course he's good. He's at Oregon. They play no defense in that conference. Of course he's putting up great numbers. And then last year, he was a little bit iffy for us. Then he started coming on at the end of the year. He looked real good. And in that that playoff game and in the late season, he was making all the throws. And now he's completely reverted back to the old Bo Nix that doesn't set his feet. He can't make a throw past the line of scrimmage. He can't even make a throw behind the line of scrimmage sometimes. It's really, really frustrating. And then, we have Pat Surtain on one side, but Riley Moss can't cover everyone. He can't get they're targeting him every time on the other side of the field because you don't want to throw at Surtain. So you're going to go after Moss, and he does a good job most of the time, but he can't stop every ball that comes his way. So I don't know. It was a very, very frustrating game to watch.
Cade, how old were you when Bo Nix played at Auburn?
I think his freshman year was my junior year in high school.
Cade Bickham was a junior in high school. That when Auburn came here and Bo Nix was the quarterback, I was working the tailgate as an intern at the TexAgs office. Secondly, Reese Nygren wants to know, who do you hate more, Cade Bickham, Drew Aller, or Bo Nix?
It's most definitely Bo Nix. My hatred for Bo Nix goes back much further.
Why do you hate Drew Aller?
Everybody.
Why not?
I don't. I think hate is a very strong word, and
strongly dislike.
Well, here's something.
I just think that Drew Aller is bad, and that everybody needs to stop talking about him like he's good.
We'll find out this weekend because they finally start playing people. This slate in college football, by the time you're listening to us on a Tuesday afternoon, you've heard it 1,000 times. But the schedule this weekend is awesome. It is a great day to plop down in front of a TV and watch football. And that Oregon-Penn State game I'm super intrigued by that one.
Oh, yeah. That's a good game. A&M Auburn's a good game. Ole Miss LSU's a good game.
The slate's loaded. I can't wait to pick games on Thursday.
I was a senior in high school, not a junior. My bad. It was 2019 fall. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I want to go through my weekend. So let me ask you, how'd you spend your bye weekend?
Working.
Nothing exciting.
Really nothing exciting. We covered 5 Texas A&M sporting events, 4 of them in person in 4 days. Soccer was on the road on Thursday. Volleyball played Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then soccer was at home on Sunday. And somewhere in there, whatever free time I had was occupied by my family having dinner with Jenna's family for the first time because that was a blast. Loved it.
L'Chaim.
Yeah. Well, only half of them were. Only half were L'Chaim.
Okay.
And then yesterday we went to services for Rosh Hashanah. So Shana Tova to everybody out there.
We probably, before I start rambling about my weekend in Utah and the things that I learned, and it being the inspiration for this edition of Top 5 Tuesday. So once we go through our winners and losers of college football, we're going to go top 5 most beautiful places you've seen, whether it be a specific area or a stadium, venue, whatever it is, we're going to go through our top 5 most beautiful places that we have seen. And this is coming off my trip to Utah. But before that, let's talk about our lunch trip today.
Ooh, we put some people on, dude. We changed lives today. And
a result of us changing lives was a lot of naps that were had after lunch. And that should be viewed as a compliment toward the establishment. So last week we were talking about the best cheeseburgers in the area, the best kind of food in the area. We were in the studio talking about it, in the production room talking about it. And it came to our attention that a lot of folks that work in the production room,
including a College Station resident
on the content team, had never been out to Benchley. If you're not familiar with Bryan College Station, Benchley is basically like a country neighborhood just outside of Bryan, just northwest of Bryan.
The other side of the lake.
And we had realized that a lot of people that worked here had never been to Top of the Hill Burger, which is out there. And it's about a 26 to 30-minute drive. I don't want to say it's 30. It's probably closer to 25 minutes. And that just kind of depends on which way you take. We were closer to Welborn, so you kind of got to deal with the lights. If you're on Highway 6, it's probably a lot cleaner shot, a lot quicker shot. We decided last week that we were going to, as a group, after our content meeting on Tuesdays, go out to Benchley and have Top of the Hill. There were 7 of us that went. Of the 7 of us, only 2, Richard and myself, had been out there to have a burger beforehand. I knew what I was walking into. I'd been out there plenty. Richard knew what he was walking into. And so one of the things I wanted to do was kind of watch everybody else eat and see if they felt the same way I did. I can tell you this. It is, without question, the best cheeseburger I've ever eaten in my life. And I've eaten a lot of cheeseburgers. Cade, I don't know how you felt, where you would rank it, but I know you enjoyed it, and then you were one of the folks that it had the effect where you had to get a 30-minute shut-eye in.
Yeah, that's correct. I think it would be hard for me on the spot to put a list together, but I said while I was there, it was the best burger that I've had in a long time, long enough to remember.
Mm-hmm.
It was in the 9.5 plus out of 10 type of category.
It's good.
It's very good. It's so good. It's just
the fries were great.
The fries are great, and they keep it real simple.
That surprised me today. It's the fries are different than the last time we'd been out there, and they were amazing.
If you haven't been, it's basically an old house.
It's amazing.
You walk into an old house. It doesn't there's not much seating, so if you go kind of at peak hours, you're going to have to sit outside. They have some tables outside. We were able to get a couple tables inside. The girls loved it. Cade and Luke, it was the first time they went. They loved it.
Well,
it's
2 of the 3.
It was one of those things that was when you get done eating it, you're like, man, I wish I had more of it.
But it's also one of those things, and you and I had this conversation on the way back. I've definitely been there before where I had wished I didn't have as much as I had to eat. Or I'm feeling real bad on the way out there because it had tasted so good. Well,
they have one, and we're always looking for bits on this show. So if you have an idea for a bit, you can drop it in the chat. You can DM me on social media. You can hit Richard or I up on private message on TexAgs, however you want to, if you have an idea for us to do on Thursdays. But one of the things that came across the table as we were kind of talking about this bit and while we were at Top of the Hill was they have a burger called the Hulk. Richard said it had 5 patties.
It looked like it had that many patties. It looked huge.
Well, that would be one of these eating challenges that it would be awful but fantastic at the same time.
That's one of those things where I think I'd let Luke Evangelist tackle that with you. He's like a man versus food.
So is Matthew Dawson. Matthew Dawson with inner pie eating contest.
Matthew Dawson.
I like pie.
We know.
I'd rather pie than cake.
I agree with that.
You can take one good look at Ryan Brauninger and be like, without ever meeting him, without him opening his mouth, and being like, that guy likes pie.
Yeah.
Guy likes pie.
The cake that I do like is cheesecake, which I really don't count as cake. There's no batter in cheesecake.
Cheesecake's good. Where do you go for cheesecake in town? Do you have a place?
They make a mean one at the really high-end Italian food spot on the south end of town.
What about the not so high end Italian food spot that's owned by our owner?
Fasolini's?
No, not Fasolini's.
Oh. I have not had.
Not Fasolini's.
I was like, they don't serve dessert at Fazoli's, do they?
I don't know.
When's the last time you've been to Fazoli's, Cade?
Never.
It's been
What
a
are you
minute.
talking about? Never. They get the pasta straight from Italy. Bottomless piping hot breadsticks.
It's hard to say no to bottomless breadsticks
See?
in any form.
That's true.
I'm kidding. I'm not a frequenter of Fasolini's. All right. So lunch today, incredible. I think I gave it a 9.6 out of 10.
I know for a fact that Cade Bickham caught some shut-eye in a chair in the back of the production room, and I have heard, I didn't see with my own eyes, that Luke Evangelist fell asleep on the car ride home.
He zonked on the car ride back in the back of Kane Angley's car.
That's
Correct.
That is
Yes.
that's an
pro
enormous
move.
compliment.
It's a pro
Enormous
move.
compliment to the folks there at Top of the Hill. So go see them out in Bryan. We don't do free ads, but we just did one. Essentially, just cut a promo for that place, but it is that good. There's not, and I've had all the best burgers in town. There's a couple of really good ones in Bryan as well. They are clearly, there's a gap between them and Top of the Hill for me. There's a gap between everybody and Top of the Hill for me. So there's your recommendation if you're coming in town for the Auburn game this weekend, or you're coming to College Station in the future, especially if you're coming from the north. If you're coming from Dallas or Waco, stop there in North Bryan, exit OSR. If you're coming south, exit OSR, go to the right. It's down there maybe a mile and a half to your left. It's just a little shack, but it is worth a stop and it's worth your time. All right, now, thank you and Luke for hosting the show last Thursday while I was starting my trek. Actually, by the time that you guys started the show, I was in my hotel room. Actually, not even a hotel room.
Not the most worst timed show for me to host?
Why do you say that?
Because I had to button it up and try to get through an hour and a half after my hero retired.
Oh, yeah.
That was tough.
Very courageous of you.
Definitely, like, people tuned into that episode of the B Team and saw that I was hosting and saw the topic we were talking about and immediately turned it off. So
Well, I didn't even look at the
I'm
numbers.
sorry to you
I was spamming the chat, though, to try to
for
get
killing your
everybody.
numbers.
I was spamming the chat that night or that evening. But I do want to talk about my trip to Utah. So my first time to the state of Utah. Cade, have you been?
Multiple times, yeah.
Okay. Richard, have you been?
I have once when I was very, very young. We went
Okay.
on like a family skiing trip to Park Cities.
I have not been in the mountains very often. I went to the trip to Denver a few years ago when A&M played Colorado. Just not been in very mountainous places. I would say Albuquerque, New Mexico is a place that I've been a few times. Albuquerque itself sits below the mountains, but there are huge mountains around it. But never have I been in a place where you are literally in the mountains. And so one of the things that I have said multiple times, the most difficult part of me being in Utah for that long was the driving. And it has nothing to do with the abilities of the drivers on the road in the state of Utah. It has everything to do with me driving from Salt Lake City to Park City. It is astoundingly beautiful. And it's hard to drive there, first of all, because I am looking at these mountains and I'm looking at this scenery and these landscapes and just blown away by the breathtaking views. There was also a moment where I caught myself not really paying attention to the road because of the scenery. On Saturday when I drove from from Park City up to Logan. So if any of you are familiar with the state of Utah, I-15 runs north and south through the state. And I was going I-80 going west towards Salt Lake, then north. When you go north out of Salt Lake City, it does flatten out a little bit. The mountains are all around you, but you're not driving through them. It's pretty much, for more or less a flat surface until I took the exit off of I-15 to go toward Logan. I don't know that I'll ever see mountains like that. And I was driving through them and you go down to these huge valleys and it feels like you're just sunk everywhere you look. You can't even see the tops of these mountains and you're in the middle of them. And the other aspect about driving that made it so difficult was in the state of Texas, I'm on the gas pedal when I drive. I'm usually hovering over the gas, not the brake. It is the complete inverse there.
As someone who's been in the car with you,
and
you're not hovering.
So coming down those mountains is like the first night that I was there from Salt Lake City to Park City. I was just looking at stuff. Like I'm looking at the surroundings as I'm driving, and they have signs on the side of the road that says like brake check area, ready to brake area, that kind of thing. I don't know what that means. I've never seen that before. But you look down, and without even being on the gas at all, just kind of hovering over it without touching it, I look down, I'm going 98 because you're just falling down this mountain. And you can see people ahead of you braking. I'm like, is there traffic? No, they're just braking to slow down. So like I kind of had to immediately learn that. But it's not an easy place to drive if you've never been in mountains before.
That's correct. I have generally what you'd like to do is my dad told me to put the car whenever I was coming back down from the ski hill near our house. He told me to put it in manual so that it's not going to like go over a certain speed while you're just cruising down, because you don't have to brake as much either. It's much easier on your brakes. Those brake check areas, those are specifically for like the big 18-wheeler, big trucks, because they put like those little did you see any of those runaway truck like ramps?
Yes, I did.
Off to the side where they have it's like a bunch of gravel, it just goes uphill.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what those are for.
Well, and I also saw that there was a bunch of 18-wheelers that are going very slow.
Oh yeah.
Through those areas.
Oh yeah.
Very slow. And they actually, I mean, it doesn't cause traffic because they have their own kind of lane to the far right, but they're going really slow with their flashers on. Again, it's something I had never seen, but was able to go to downtown Park City. What a cool place. It's an incredible place. And I stayed through the generosity and goodwill and nature of a very kind Aggie. I was able to stay at the Pendry, which is it's technically Park City, but a little bit outside of it. So had to I took a taxi down to downtown Park City one night and I went and ate at the No Name Saloon, had a bison burger there. It was really good. Not comparable to Top of the Hill, but it was a very good burger. It's basically their version of the Dixie Chicken. Same aesthetic, same motif, country music playing, rustic wood bar, everything, just like the Dixie Chicken. So I left there and decided I just wanted to go explore. And, the tough part about downtown Park City is that it is on a massive hill, part of that mountain. So, like, it's easy to walk down to go to places, but you don't really want to walk back up. I couldn't breathe at all the whole time I was there because of the air, and I'm asthmatic. And so, like, I'm already short of breath. And when you whenever you take the amount of air out of the atmosphere, it makes it tough on me. But downtown Park City, beautiful. Would highly recommend that place. The football game on Friday, the backdrop for it, which was southeast Salt Lake City. I wouldn't trade Texas high school football for anything, but they've got us beat with the views by a mile up there. It's just breathtaking to watch a high school football sitting below those type of mountains. An experience I won't forget, and I was grateful that I was there. I went to see Helaman Kasuga. He did not play well. The Corner Canyon lost to Lone Peak. I'd never heard of Lone Peak High School. Go up there and see them. They've got like 5 Division I kids. 2 of them going to Utah, twin brothers. One of them was insanely good. Alabama was still trying to press the pedal there to get them to flip, but I think they're going to stick with the Utes there in the state. But it was just such a great experience, both in Park City and Salt Lake City. And the last thing that I wanted to get to. So on Saturday, I mentioned that I went up to Logan to see McNeese, my undergrad alma mater, play at Utah State. And I left Salt Lake City, or Park City, excuse me. It's about an hour and 45-minute trip. I left at 8 o'clock in the morning. I just kind of wanted to spend the whole day up there and get to Logan, go grab a bite to eat with some of the McNeese folks, go around town a little bit there. And then Utah State invited the McNeese traveling group to a tailgate that was put on by their, I guess they have a meat sciences program similar to A&M, ag school. So that doesn't, it makes a lot of sense. And I was curious going into the weekend, like, okay, I know how these McNeese people are going to tailgate. Just on the surface, I've never experienced Utah or Logan, Utah. And I had a feeling that the two parties weren't going to like kind of vibe.
I get what you're putting down.
You know what I'm saying? just felt like it was going to be a very different tailgating experience from McNeese perspective against a Utah State perspective. And boy, was I correct. They invited us in, very kind of them. We got plates when we got there, and it was set up similar to Troubadour Fest, where you have all these tents and they're just kind of handing out samples of whatever they're making. There was one tent that had like cheese curds, like fresh cheese curds, not something we eat very often. There was one that had a steak kebab, which was great. One that had pork loin, and some of the Cajuns that were there were like, hey, this would be pretty good if you put it in a jambalaya. But there was no rice anywhere to be found. One of the booths was giving out cherries, dry cherries, and also concentrated cherry juice. It was like a farmer's market where you could sample everything. It was put on by Utah State Animal Science or Meat Sciences. Well, the one thing about that tailgate is you would expect is it was dry, and dry tailgates and Cajuns don't mix real well. So the funny part about this was there was a restaurant bar catty corner across like an intersection from where this tailgate was happening. And it was funny because like slowly but surely, like 2x, you'd see McNeese people thanking everybody and they would kind of disappear. And you look up and they're walking across the crosswalk. And it was funny. So by the time that everybody was, we were getting ready to leave and go into the game, the whole McNeese section had found their way over to that bar restaurant before they walked in. It was pretty cool. It was very different, very, very different tailgate atmosphere and scene. And then the game, their stadium's very nice, and had a great time. Had a great time. But I recommend Utah, Salt Lake City, Park City, if you are looking for vacations in the mountains. I was just blown away by mainly the scenery. It was awesome. It was awesome. All right, my rant's over, and we have got to get into our top 5 winners and losers. Got about 30 minutes left here on the program on this Tuesday. It is September the 23rd. We thank y'all for joining us here on the B Team. We are looking at college football's top 5 winners and losers from the weekend, as we always do. Let's start with the winners. Number 5 for me. Actually, I have an honorable mention for each of these. Can I go my honorable mention?
Sure.
Rice beat Charlotte 28-6. Rice has won. I think Rice has won 3 games now.
3-1. And
that coach they got, they are running the football, big time running the football. And I would have to Wikipedia or Google Rice's recent football history, but they have got to be on pace for their best season in a long time through 4 weeks.
That would make sense.
Long time. So honorable mention for me after a big win over Charlotte are the Rice Owls. Go ahead, Cade.
I was going to say I have an honorable mention too if we're doing that.
Go ahead.
I was going to shout out my little brother in the UC Davis Aggies FCS program, but they just got their record attendance on their most recent game against like Southeastern Utah, so they won. So
how many people? What was the attendance?
It was like 18,000.
Oh, that's actually higher than I thought it would be.
Pretty good.
Nice. All right, congratulations, UC Davis. Way to go, Aggies. Nice shirt, Cade.
Thank you.
We've talked a lot of Aggies, Utah State, A&M, and UC Davis today. My number 5.
Also talked about Oklahoma State.
Winner of the Aggies. They used to be. Number 5 winner of the weekend for me, the Maryland Terrapins. Slowly but surely getting national attention. Their quarterback, Malik Washington, is awesome. Very good. And Mike Loxley has a little bit of life there. They've got a lot of prove-it moments to go. But they were in a little bit of a spot last week with a down slate across college football and had some folks watching them and blew out Wisconsin.
My number 5 is the North Texas Mean
Go
Green.
Ahead.
4-0. They beat Army in overtime in West Point this week. That game really shouldn't have gone to overtime. Like, North Texas should have been able to put them away. If you were paying attention at all during the morning slate to the Arkansas and Memphis game, you would have seen a graphic or a little cartoon that ESPN's crew had done up about Group of 5 playoff odds. North Texas is in that group. I think they've got the 5th best odds of a non-conference of a Group of 5 team to make the college football playoff. They are 4-0, and they only really have 2 more games of note on their schedule. Both of them will be in Denton. October 10th against USF and October 18th against UTSA in Denton.
I got
They
that
received-
October 11th, but yeah.
Sorry, October 11th. They received 2 votes in the AP Top 25 today. The North Texas Mean Green.
Well, November 22nd, they go to Houston, so they play the Rice Owls. What if that is for?
Could you imagine if that's a matchup that gets a team
I don't think
into the
Rice. I think North Texas
college football
can
playoff?
sustain it. I don't think Rice. Rice is a cool story right now. That's why I wanted to highlight them. I think North Texas has got some staying power. Okay, you got number 5?
Yeah, it's kind of boring compared to those, but I just said Oklahoma because there was a ranked matchup at home. It was kind of like a question mark game. You beat Michigan, but here's your next test. Can you do it? Can you do it again? I know there was some controversy with the officials and whatnot, but
Not controversy. They flat out blew a call.
Yeah, they did blow it. Yeah,
I don't
and they
get
came
that.
back and said it. But I have them as my number
And then
5
they
because it was
admitted
a big win, but it didn't really it was a big win for them. Going forward, it just didn't move the needle as much as a win this next week would do against Texas.
I know you've got something to say on the SEC officiating, and I want to hear what you have to say. I had Oklahoma on my winners list. After today's news, I put them on my losers list.
I did make that list before the news.
Yes. I would say, here's my only question about that call. Why can't they change it in the moment?
Yes. Why can't we change it?
Why can't we look at it and
buzz down?
Why can't we look at it again? We talked about this last week.
Hugh Freeze was hot in the
an
moment.
extra set of eyes in the booth that can buzz down on flags, that might have helped. But still, after the fact, the goal should be to get the call right. What is this? That ain't reviewable stuff. That's the stupidest thing. We saw it last year in baseball when there was a tapper back to the mound in a midweek game. And I can't remember who was pitching for A&M, but he clearly tags the guy. Home plate umpire Jeff Head says no tag. And it can't be reviewed because the play happened in front of first base.
So dumb.
What is that? What kind of explanation is that? We have the technology. We have the capability. We have the cameras. Shouldn't everything be reviewed just to get – the goal should be to get the call right.
Yes. Thank you. Yes.
There's too much on the line. There's too much money changing hand. There's jobs on the line now.
Oh, absolutely. If Hugh Freeze wins that game, and what was the margin?
Final score, it was 7.
Oh, how much is a touchdown worth?
And that
you take a touchdown off the board, and now I know what I'm saying is there's no guarantee that Oklahoma doesn't score later on in the drive. But the rest of the game's not played in a vacuum, right? That's not the play that swung the outcome because the entire game's different if that's ruled a flag.
But it is a 15-yard penalty and a loss of down.
Yes, and Hugh Freeze saw it in the moment. So if the head coach on the other sideline can see it, how do none of the officials see it?
Even if they don't see it, why can't we go look at it and say, you know what? They did. That is a penalty.
So bad.
And it's not like an in motion penalty. It's not like we're going back to review holding or pass interference. This is an alignment, and it'd be like reviewing, balks should be reviewable because it's a deception thing. Right? It's a before the snap. It's a pre-snap thing.
What is this? We're going to put out a statement after the fact.
Well, I bet that made Auburn feel real good.
Yeah, Auburn. Oh, we must feel so good about that on the plains. Yep. You know what? I spent all this money to go to Norman, Oklahoma this weekend, and I came back feeling sad, but the SEC put out a statement. So, no, I'm not so mad. Thank you, Southeastern Conference.
There's too
Great
much
job,
at
guys.
stake for these not to be. It should be it should be fixed. If it can be fixed, we should review it.
Just review it.
That's the goal. Get the call right. All right. Number 4 on my list is going to surprise some people because this win was not viewed as that big of a deal. But I heard a lot of folks saying that Ole Miss was in a look-ahead spot and that Tulane was going up to Oxford with a head coach that is red hot in terms of trajectory and path moving up, and a Tulane team that a lot of folks think is one of the best G4s in the country. The spread, I think, indicated that. I think it was 5.5 or 6.5.
Blasted them.
And Ole Miss blasted Tulane in a potential look-ahead spot. I thought Ole Miss, that was really impressive.
I had Ole Miss higher on my list. I had them at 2.
Wow.
Now, part of that is because I had to delete my entry for Oklahoma, but Ole Miss is definitely on my list.
Who's your 4?
My 4 is Memphis.
Okay.
They should be favored in every game the rest of the way. I think winning that game, now talk about the manner they won the game a little bit later when we get to our losers, but winning that game keeps them in the driver's seat to be the Group of 5 champion that gets included in the college football playoff. That's a resume builder. They had to have it. They got it, and now they're moving on.
And the game icing play made by College Station's own Arrington Maiden. Cade, who'd you have it for? Biggest loser?
Or
biggest winners.
Oh,
biggest winners.
okay. I had Texas Tech at number 4.
Wow, that's a little low, I think.
Texas, yeah.
Very low.
I was thinking about some other teams that won. I have another Big 12 team at 3 right above them, but Texas Tech, that game was kind of slow and a little bit like
dude, it's
tighter
a
than
Texas
they probably
Tech game.
wanted.
Every
yeah.
game they have with their fans in attendance is a little slow.
Well, that's a good one. Very true. But they just took over in that fourth quarter. With
a backup quarterback.
Utah, the backup quarterback, and Utah had 0 answers offensively or defensively for them. So I thought that was a really impressive win just because of how they closed it out.
But at 4, dude?
Okay,
yeah,
we'll just keep moving because we're gonna be short on time if we don't get through this. Okay, you've got Texas Tech at 4. I've got Memphis at 3. We don't need to expand on it. You talked about Memphis. I thought you were accurate in your statements. Massive
Memphis
win.
higher actually.
At 3, I have Michigan. A lot of people talking about the Matt Rule. I love that Michigan is a better team without their head coach in the building. I love Biff Poggi. He's hilarious. It's awesome.
That scoreline didn't even accurately reflect how much Michigan dominated that football game.
That's really the thing is I don't care what the final score is as long as you win and move on, right? I think that's the only thing they care about up in Ann Arbor. Michigan should be 10-1 now, moving into that game against Ohio State. Now they do have a trip to Los Angeles to face USC at the Coliseum here in a few weeks.
USC's pretty good.
I don't know, but I think with each and every week you're going to see a little bit more growth out of Bryce Underwood. Michigan could be red hot rolling in, when Ohio State comes to Ann Arbor.
3, I had TCU. Josh Hoover looked really good. They beat that SMU team fairly soundly, the SMU team that went to the playoffs last year. Obviously not on the same level this year from what we've seen so far, but TCU 4-0 looking really good so far. So,
all right. I don't hate that. I did not have TCU in my top 5. My number 2 is Texas Tech for all the reasons that we mentioned. Hostile atmosphere, place that's tough to go and win. The thing that stood out to me the most, though, is that they went and paid money for line of scrimmage players, and they made a difference. I have talked to people that know way more football than me. I actually talked to one on Thursday night ahead of that game on Saturday that was surefire. Utah had the best offensive line in the country, and Tech walked into their building and whipped them. And that was extremely impressive. Utah, very limited with their quarterback play. I realize that. But when you look at what Texas Tech's front 7 did against that offensive line, and then their receivers just kept making 50-50 catch one after the other. Like every in it, Will Hammond got a lot of credit and deservedly so, but his receivers helped him out immensely. That is a statement game from Joey McGuire's Red Raiders. They are now in the driver's seat in the Big 12.
I had Ole Miss at 2, but just because we're running short on time, I'll talk about Texas Tech now, who I had atop my list. Shows that the Cody Campbell plan works. And that's a team that's now in the driver's seat in that league. Texas Tech got some staying power right now. I think everything that they'd been doing is kind of vindicated and validated by this win in Salt Lake City.
My number 2 is, oh my gosh, hold on. Let me pull my list up again. Oh, it's Indiana. It was supposed to be like a big, ranked showdown, close game with Illinois coming into Bloomington. They just beat the brakes off them.
I have Indiana as my number 1.
Them.
Biggest winner.
We already talked about Memphis. I had Memphis at 1 because they control their own destiny for the playoff now, basically. So I thought that's why that win was so big for them.
Kirk Cinetti keeps pumping out. Like, these quarterbacks go to him and they have enormous seasons. There's something to be said for that. Fernando Mendoza has now entered the Heisman race after they just melted Illinois. Wasn't even competitive after like their drive chart. If you go back and look at Indiana's drive chart, it's crazy. It's like punt, TD, punt, and then TD for the rest of the game. Yeah, it's wild. Indiana number 1 on my biggest winners this week.
Didn't have them on my list.
Okay, biggest losers, my honorable mention. We talked about them very briefly. The Utah Utes. I just expected more. I expected more out of them to be able to threaten Texas Tech. Devin Dampier got a lot of love, and as soon as he played somebody with a pulse, he looked like a Division II quarterback, and the game was going way too fast for him. He's very limited, looks like, with his arm. I expected more out of Utah. They were my honorable mention. Anybody else have an honorable mention?
Nope.
Okay.
Honorable mention, Arch Manning.
Number 5. He acted like a loser for sure. We don't need to get into that. Number 5, biggest loser for me, and I hesitate to even put them on this list because I have zero expectations for them now. We discussed them earlier. My number 5 biggest loser of the week, the Clemson Tigers.
I'm taking the same kind of approach that I did last week. I'll just say it. Dabo Swinney tops my list. I don't have Clemson atop my list. Dabo Swinney is my biggest loser. The only thing I have written about Dabo Swinney is dweeb.
Okay, so you went with number 1 first?
Yeah, well, you brought up Clemson, so I know we're kind of saving time, so I don't want to talk about him now. 5 on my list. Anytime you get fired 3 games into the year, Mike Gundy. Sorry, dude.
I made my list before the news came out.
I think he's awesome. I think his tenure in Stillwater, the things he's done at that program, awesome. But you get fired in week 4, you're a loser. Now,
Cade?
5 on my list. I had Nebraska because they can't do it again.
Yeah,
they just can't win the big game.
They haven't won a ranked game in how many years?
God, it was like some sort of ridiculous stat where they were like 0-0 for their last
I'm gonna look it up.
Something for Nebraska fans that they probably don't want to hear. It's Jover for you guys. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. You're not going to be able to recruit kids to Lincoln, Nebraska. You're not going to be able to win in that league when it's top end like that. You're just not going to be able to compete with them. I know you think you've got the best fans of college football. You've got a great stadium. You've got a great alumni base. Not going to work.
The last time the Nebraska football team defeated a ranked opponent was on September the 17th, 2016, when they beat Oregon, number 22, Oregon 35-32. Since that victory, Nebraska has lost 29 consecutive games against AP ranked teams.
Not good.
Really bad. Good call, Cade. I didn't have Nebraska on my list, but very worthy of being on the biggest losers this week. At number 4 for me, biggest loser, the Illinois Fighting Illini. They were getting a lot of love because they had a ton of returning starters off a team that was pretty good last year. You go back and look at it now in hindsight, were they worthy of that top 10 ranking? Probably not. You can lose that game to Fernando Mendoza and Indiana. You cannot lose it like that.
You can lose by 53 points on the road. I had them higher on my list.
They should be out of the top 25.
I had them at 2. Here we were sitting here last week talking about Brett Bielema. He might be in line to move up. Kurt Signetti just pummeled him, stuffed him in a locker, and said, I'm the guy out of the Big Ten that's going to be taking a brand name job next.
How big does that locker got to be to put?
It's actually like it's like a few lockers. It's like one of those show lockers where like it opens up and it's like Anyways, Brett Bielema in a locker, probably stuffed in there somewhere next to Luke Evangelist after what Brandon Walker did to him last week. 4 on my list. Oklahoma and John Mateer, they were off to a great start. I was about ready to sit here and talk about Oklahoma as a dark horse to win the league, or really one of the favorites to win the league. I was ready to talk about how Brent Venables should be the SEC Coach of the Year frontrunner now 4 weeks into the season. All of that is now on hold to see how the Sooners do without their starting quarterback over the next month, because it could get real dicey in Norman, Oklahoma. That's a huge loss. So even though they won a ranked versus ranked matchup, I think they qualify as a loser this week. Well,
they are. It's not out of the question that they can go 2-2 over their next 4 before they get him back. And if they only lose 2 games and they get him back, they'd have to run the table the rest of the way, but they could still get into the playoff at 10-2.
Yeah, I agree. But what's the rest of the schedule look like?
But what I'm saying is, how big is it now that they beat Michigan and Auburn?
It's huge. It's huge. But I'm saying, how do you manage the next couple of weeks? Like, I need to look at the schedule.
Michael Hawkins. I know they got Kent State, then Texas, then South Carolina.
Yeah, I get that. And then they get Ole Miss on the 25th, and then they get to go to Tennessee, and then they get to face Alabama, and then they get to face Mizzou, and then they get to face LSU.
Right, but he should be back by then. They've got, in order for them to stay afloat, they need to go 2-2 in their next 4. without John Mateer. All right, number 3 for me. Where's Cade? Cade's got 4.
Yeah, my number 4 is the Cal Bears. Cal Bears were coming in they were coming in a little bit hot. They a lot of talk about their quarterback, and then they got pummeled 34-0 by San Diego State.
They're the Cal Bears are gonna be on my list here in a little bit. Number 3 for me, briefly mentioned already, Oklahoma State. You cannot lose. Obviously, their coach has been fired now, but you lost at home to Tulsa. That is the equivalent of A&M losing at home to Rice. Can't do it.
It's bad.
You can't do it.
3 on my list is Arkansas, just for the manner in which they lost. Like if they win that game, Sam Pittman's got some good graces. Now he might be in a dead heat with Mr. Napier on who's the next guy out at their current position.
That is back-to-back weeks for the Razorbacks where they have fumbled going in on potential game-winning drives late in the fourth quarter. It is tough to be an Arkansas fan.
Notre
just
Dame,
in general,
Tennessee, A&M, all up next in a row.
Now,
Sam
they can
Pittman,
score.
can you survive?
They can't stop a nosebleed, but they can score. And Taylor Green's been awesome. He was awesome. He did have one really bad interception, but he's putting up a ton of yards, giving his team a chance to win. The Arkansas, they have a guy that covers him. His name's Trey Biddy. He's in runs hogsports.com, and he does the walk and talks after the game, like right after the game. So there's some emotion to him. There's so many people that just feel sorry for the guy because he wears every one of these losses, and he's talking to the Arkansas fan base, and they're very entertaining. I'm not wishing ill on the guy, but he does a really good job of being coherent and not being overly emotional, but still giving you a glimpse into the kind of the heart of Arkansas Razorback fans. And just that was another gut wrenching one.
So the anti Frank the Tank.
Yes. Cade, what do you got? 3?
3, we've already discussed them at length. It's Clemson. They're terrible. We can move on.
Will they move on from Dabo? I don't think they should, but it's.
Well, if they want to, he'll go coach somewhere else. If they're tired of winning.
I wonder, what if that'd be funny? Yeah, the AD comes to him and say, "Hey, man, you said you're ready to go, so you leave for free? You want to go coach somewhere else? Will you leave for free?"
I'm sure they've got lawyers looking for breach of contract or anything of that such.
At 2 for me, Arkansas, as discussed.
2 for me was Illinois.
I'll save the other ones I had for 1. I'll say Arkansas 2 as well. They are so bad.
Cade's making changes to his list on the fly. Look at this guy.
Well,
my number 1 has already been said too. It's Cal. Just like you can't lose at home to Tulsa, you can't be going on the road, especially after the week of love that the Bears got. And I'd like their head coach, Justin Wilcox, I think is really good. But they've got a lot of national love, and they just started getting the spotlight, and people were talking about, we talked about last week, dude, Cal can win 10 games.
Nope, not anymore.
Not anymore.
All that happens is they go on the road to San Diego State. You want to make an A&M comparison? It's like going on the road to North Texas or going on the road to Texas State, and you get mollywopped by 34
points
and don't score.
Could you imagine going to Denton?
Oh.
Like A&M is on the road in Denton.
No offense to anybody from the Metroplex. I'd rather go to San Marcos.
Okay, could you imagine going to San Marcos? Like seeing A&M play a game there.
It'd be a better time on the square.
My 2 was Illinois. My 1 was Dabo just as an individual.
My 1, I will go with the tandem of this before. Well, no, it was after Mike Gundy. The tandem of Mike Gundy and Billy Napier. Billy Napier is a dead man walking, and Mike Gundy, they just brought him out back earlier today. So
they old yellered him.
They old yellered Mike Gundy.
R.I.P. the mullet, dude.
All right, that's with our top 5 biggest winners and losers here on this Top 5 Tuesday. Going to close the show. Last 10 minutes or so, we're going to go. I spent there and I rambled on and on for a good 5-10 minutes about my trip to Utah. And it is the inspiration for today's top 5 non-sports list, which is the top 5 most beautiful places that you have been. I'm not limiting this to a specific city or, just talking geographical. It could be a really cool Christmas lights show that you Santa's Wonderland could be top 5 for you. So we're trying to be as a wide array. Whatever is the most eye-catching, breathtaking places.
So
it could be, and I know Richard's number 1 without even looking at his list could be Dodger Stadium.
it is not. I actually don't have any sportses on this list.
Okay, we'll start with you.
Which was really hard for me because I'm not well versed in travel. I've only been out of the country a couple of times.
That's two more times than I have.
I also haven't visited any natural beauty places in the country. So,
People tell me I'm a natural beauty. I don't know what that means.
no, they don't.
I got it written.
Only one person has ever said that. And her opinion. Okay, 2 people, and both of their opinions matter. Mama Brauninger and Ashley.
Don't you remember when I had that thing written on that cup?
No, I don't. Oh yeah. Yes.
So there's at least one other person out there.
The barista.
Yeah. All right, Cade, we'll start with you. Your top 5 most beautiful places you've been. You're going to have a good, because you've been around the Rockies a bunch.
Yeah, I have a good list. I'm going to actually start my number 5 is going to be, I couldn't really pick between these 3 different ski resort towns, places I've been to. I really, really like Crested Butte, Breckenridge, and Aspen Highlands.
All in Colorado.
All in Colorado, yeah.
Okay.
Great 3. Put them on your list. Great spots, winter or summer.
I had an honorable mention on my list, and it was Athens, Georgia in the fall. Because when we went there in 2019 for the A&M game, that was really my first time of seeing fall. Like trees actually change colors, really bright reds, bright yellows. I thought that was amazing. And we sat in the upper deck of that stadium so you could see out for miles, and to see all the different colors was really, really pretty. So Athens itself, not maybe the best, but just the scenery itself in the fall was amazing. 5 on my list is Santa Monica Pier at sunset, just because the mountains go right into the water. Yeah. The sun goes down right there on the beach. We went out there a couple years ago for a Dodgers Phillies series at Dodger Stadium, and we had dinner there one night at a really nice restaurant out on the pier.
Great segue. Mine's
great
the
place.
Same area. Like Southern California mountain, Southern California coastline. Been to LA a few times. Very beautiful. I wouldn't live there. Very beautiful.
I'm not a big LA guy. I think for the most part, Los Angeles is quite honestly gross. I think the city's not great. It's a desert. It's obviously you can nitpick some stuff, but it does have some really, really pretty spots. Looking out, the view from the Hollywood Hills is awesome. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I'm partial to a Dodger Stadium sunset with the San Gabriels in the background. There's some really, really nice places.
Rose Bowl, gorgeous.
The Rose Bowl is gorgeous. Yeah, exactly. Pasadena, awesome. Yep. There's some really nice beaches out there. But as a whole, I don't think I'd ever go back to Los Angeles if I didn't want to go to a baseball
I really
game.
liked the Northern California coastline as well. It was more green and lush. The mountains weren't as big, but I did enjoy it.
I've only been to NorCal once, and it was Sacramento for I was in a wedding.
Sacktown.
So, thanks for dropping in. Dynamite drop in, Cade. Sacktown.
All right, Cade, number 4.
Number 4, I have Hawaii, the Oahu Island where Honolulu is. Mm-hmm. Just
never been, but
generally
I imagine.
A lot of it's really cool because it's kind of different. Different from if you're at the beach versus if you get it gets kind of jungly in the middle of the island, and mm-hmm. It's really interesting. I think it's really cool. Also, Reveille in the premium chat said Lake Tahoe by a long shot.
I've never been.
Never been there either.
The most I've seen of Lake Tahoe was when the NHL did an outdoor game there. Yeah. That was pretty cool. Watch some dude pull up on his jet ski. So funny. 4 for me is we took a trip in January. Was it this year? We went to Cabo, and sitting on the balcony at the resort, just looking out at the water and seeing the whales. Mm-hmm. That was really cool. Loved that.
Never been to Cabo. Heard great things. I would probably put it on my list. I would like to go just to see it. So many people have been. They have great things to say about it. Number 4 for me, the Smoky Mountains in East Tennessee, Western North Carolina. Drove through them, drove horizontally and back east to west through Tennessee and North Carolina. So drove right through the Smoky Mountains. Very beautiful. Gatlinburg, the whole thing. Very, very pretty. Okay, number 3.
Number 3, I'm probably going to butcher this pronunciation, but it was when I did my study abroad trip to Germany. It's called Königssee. It's like a lake.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's like a lake, like in between, like in the middle of like some like mountains, like not huge mountains, but like some mountains, and it was super pretty. It was really cool.
Europe makes their first appearance.
I've never been to Europe.
We'll have 2 more appearances on my list.
Oh, fancy. I travel. Look at me.
I'm going next year.
One time.
3 for me is upstate New York.
Been there. Jamestown, Syracuse.
I'm talking about
Buffalo, Albany,
kind of Buffalo,
Niagara
Albany.
Falls.
I'm talking about Niagara Falls is going to appear later on my list, but I would consider that Canada. But I'm talking about like just the region. Like we went and spent a weekend in Cooperstown, so we flew into Boston and drove through Massachusetts, and then once you get into that region of New York, it's very green, very hilly. Like you just get you just look out the window, and it's pretty drive. It's a very, very pretty drive.
I spent some time in Jamestown and Buffalo and Niagara Falls. I really enjoyed it does feel clean, like it feels like clean air.
And Cooperstown's awesome, and I'm already planning a trip for July of 2031.
Number 3 for me, number 4 for, I went 4, Smoky Mountains. Number 3 for me, very much a homer pick. Very much a homer pick.
Southeast Texas?
No, not quite. I went with the Texas Hill Country. Just my favorite place on earth.
Fun drives, honestly.
You go from San Antonio north to Austin and then west out to Kerrville. That whole triangle, I love it. I've loved it from the first time I went out there on a hunt with my dad to Kerrville and hunt Texas, and then every time I get a chance to drive through that area of the state, I always take it, even if it makes my trip longer. I love the Hill Country.
Had a grandfather who lived in Fredericksburg and had a grandmother who lived in Wimberley.
Yeah.
So we drive through really pretty drives, fun drives. When you're learning how to drive, those country roads back there are fun.
Cade, 3.
At my number 3, this is my number 2.
You're right, 2.
Yeah. This is my number 2. I have the Cologne Cathedral. So cool.
Cathedral.
Coolest church.
Cologne,
Look it up.
Germany.
Look it up on y'all's computers right now. Coolest church I've ever been to. I ever will go to in the near future. Yeah, it's awesome. It's absolutely gorgeous. Wow. Some of the stained glass windows, like the colored stained glass windows in there, are from
very Gothic.
Are from like pre 1000 AD. It's insane. Wow. It's absolutely insane. Really cool.
1000 AD.
Go ahead, 2.
2 for me is Niagara Falls. My grandfather took me on a trip for my bar mitzvah. I was 13, just the 2 of us. Flew into Buffalo, went across the border, Niagara Falls, and then spent a couple nights there on the Canadian side. It's insane how pretty it is. They light it up really well at night. Awesome. And then the rest of the trip, we went to Cooperstown.
Number 2 for me was my most recent trip to Utah and Park City, Salt Lake City, all the way up to Logan. Just mind-melting views there. Incredible. Number 2 for me. Cade, finish us off.
All right, my number 1. It's on the west coast of Ireland, the Cliffs of Moher.
Cliffs of York?
Cliffs of Moher, Moher. It is so cool. It was
I think Cade wins.
Yeah, he's
prettiest
definitely.
place I've ever been to, hands down. Little nerd fact: they filmed one of the scenes in the 6th Harry Potter, out in that area. Like when they're standing in the rock in front of all those cliffs. Those are the cliffs. Sorry, nerd out right there, but. Yeah, super awesome, really pretty out there, super cool.
Cade Bickham, nerding out. One on my list is really the only unique place I've ever traveled would be Israel. I had a cousin get bar mitzvahed at the Wall. So it was like a bunch of Zanes out there. We went all over the country, spent some time in Tel Aviv, obviously spent time in Jerusalem, Dead Sea, Masada, Haifa, and the Baha'i Gardens. Beautiful. But
cool.
To me, sunset on a Shabbat at the Western Wall and getting to spend all that time with family, really, really awesome. Really, really cool stuff out there. Highly recommend if you can ever get there and get there safely.
Yep. Yeah, good.
Safely is very important.
All right, final bit here. My number 1 most beautiful place I've ever been: the U.S. Virgin Islands, St. Thomas and St. John. The beaches on St. John, just like out of a movie, and you can't accurately describe them. You just got to go there and see it. If you've never been to the U.S. Virgin Islands, highly, highly advocate for making that trip for you and your family, you and your wife, husband, whatever. It's an incredible, incredible place. Me and my wife love it. All right. Ran a little bit long today. But we appreciate you hanging with us on the Tuesday edition of the B Team. Cade's going to be producing for us all week. We got We Learn Wednesday tomorrow. We're still searching for our bit on Thursday. Stay tuned on the B Team.
Hulk.